Yun Chujo pondered as she walked forward. Finally, she arrived at the exit of the 100,000 feet ice abyss. Then, this fellow was in a dilemma. When she came down by parachute. What should she do if she went up? Yun Chujo thought for a moment. Finally, she made a Kong Ming lantern. Just as she expected, the Kong Ming lantern flew about 10 feet from the ground and fell down with a thud. Yun Chujo sighed. It seemed that the hot air balloon method was also not feasible. Could it be that they could only dig out grooves bit by bit to climb up? With such a high ice wall, it would probably take them at least half a month to climb up. Just as Yun Chujo was in a dilemma, the Meng Yanshou in the spiritual beast bag laughed dryly and said, "Little fairy, I have a way. I will fly up first and then fix the rope so that you can climb up along the rope." Yun Chujo, fuck, this curly hair must have done it on purpose. She didn't say it earlier or later, but only said it when she couldn't think of a way. It was to show off its ability, wasn't it? Yun Chujo narrowed her eyes and didn't say anything. She released the Meng Yanshou and handed it a rope. Because the bottomless abyss was too high, Yun Chujo found a few ropes to tie together. It was barely long enough. Meng Yanshou kept the ropes into its space and flew up slowly. As it flew, it shouted, "Io! I'm freezing. Aiyo, this damn cold wind is going to cut me into pieces. Io, why is it so high up here? I'm so tired." Yun Chujo couldn't be bothered with it. She looked at the ice wall and couldn't help but see Di Biming being sealed inside. Her nose was a little sore. She tried her best to hold back her tears. She could not cry, she had to laugh, she had to be happy. She could not let the gigolo down. After a long time, a rope that was tied to a huge ice block finally hung down. Fortunately, the cold wind near the ice wall had weakened a lot. Otherwise, the rope would have been broken by the cold wind. After 2 hours, Yun Chujo finally climbed up the rope and reached the top of the ice abyss. She was a little confused when she saw the scene in front of her. She saw a huge ancient ice long lying not far away as if it was sleeping. The nightmare beast floated over and said in a low voice, "Little fairy, I met this guy as soon as I flew up. I can only weave a dream for it. Let's go quickly. It will probably wake up soon." Yun Chujo understood and immediately put away the rope. She rode on the ancient violent bear and ran far away. Not long after Yun Chujo left, the ancient ice long woke up. It looked around blankly and continued to stare at the entrance of the ice abyss. That damned human girl would come out sooner or later. It didn't believe that it wouldn't be able to catch her. Yun Chujo encountered a few waves of demonic beasts on the way. Although it took a bit of effort, she finally arrived at the edge of the ancient ice plain without any danger. Yun Chujo gave some pills to the immemorial violent bear and sent it away. Yun Chujo turned her head and glanced at the endless ice field. She thought to herself, "Pretty boy, wait for me. I'll be back soon." Yun Chujo turned her head. Her eyes were filled with a never-before-seen determination. However, Yun Chujo still didn't make it in time for the celebration. This guy looked at the time and estimated that the celebration was coming to an end. He didn't know how Master Bailey managed to cover up his lie. This guy felt a little guilty. He felt that if he went in now, he would definitely become the target of public criticism. Therefore, this guy hid in the dense forest outside the mountain gate of the Primordial Chaos sect and secretly poked his head out. The 2 stone pai Xiao at the gate of the Hunyuan sect had obviously seen her. The one on the east side even winked at her. The corner of Yun Chujia's eyes twitched. She thought of a plan and gestured a few times with her hands. The stone pai Xiao on the east side had followed Yun Chujo for some time, so it quickly understood. Not long after, the stone pai Xiao on the east side made some noises. The attention of the disciples guarding the mountain gate was immediately attracted by it. The stone pai Xiao on the east side waved its claws at them again. Those disciples were flattered. The guardian stone beast actually let them pass. Could it be that their opportunity had come? Hence, they all surrounded the stone Pai Xiu on the east side. Yun Chuzhou took advantage of this opportunity and rushed into the Hunyuan sect with a whoosh. Her current spiritual power was already much higher than those disciples. In addition, those disciples' attention was on the stone Pai Xiu, so no one noticed it. The stone Pai Xiu on the east side saw that Yun Chuzhou had successfully sneaked in, so it immediately lazily stopped moving. Those disciples guarding the gate could only return in disappointment, completely unaware that He Xinjiu had already sneaked in. Yun Chuzhou simply smeared a few strands of hair on her face and then hung them down to cover a portion of her face. Only then did she leap towards the mixed origin square. The entire mixed origin sect was decorated with a jubilant atmosphere. Even the trees by the roadside were tied with red cloth. The corner of Yun Chuzhi's eyes twitched slightly. This looked like a wedding. As she walked, she felt that something was amiss. Why didn't she meet any of the mixed origin sect disciples along the way? Even if they were all curious to see the celebration, there should still be servants serving tea or dishes. Moreover, the celebration had already reached its end at this time, so there was nothing to see. Yun Chuzhou could not help but stop in her tracks. After experiencing so many hardships, her vigilance had increased by more than a little. Almost subconsciously, she took off the invisibility ring on her hand and squatted down in the bushes next to her. Almost at the same time, Yun Chuzhou felt a spiritual sense prying at her. She tried her best to reduce her presence. The spiritual sense paused for a moment and then disappeared. Cold sweat broke out on Yun Chuzhi's forehead. Who on earth had such a powerful spiritual sense? And he had openly released his spiritual sense to pry at the primordial chaos sect? Yun Chuzhou immediately had an ominous premonition in her heart. She recalled the gatekeeping disciples she had seen at the door just now, and only then did she realize that something was amiss. Normally, the gatekeeping disciples of the primordial chaos sect would be assigned from each peak. 2 people would be assigned from each peak to ensure that there would be no favoritism or malpractice. However, those disciples seemed to be disciples of Tianxian Peak. This did not conform to the sect's rules at all. Were they all disciples of Tianxian Peak? Yun Chuzhou suddenly had a bad guess in her heart. Peak Master Lu of Tianxian Peak was usually quiet and had a very low sense of presence. Could it be that he was a member of the Divine Devil Hall? Yun Chuzhi's head buzzed. If Peak Master Lu of Tianxian Peak was really someone from the Divine Devil Hall, then with him as an insider, it would be easy for him to do something to the food. However, she did not know what poison they used this time. It did not seem to be the poison they used in the Sky-Bearing Alliance last time, because the incubation period of the poison used that time was 7 days. Could it be the Netherworld elixir? Yun Chuzhou was squatting in the bushes and pondering when someone patted her from behind. Yun Chuzhou was so scared that she almost jumped up. She didn't even notice that someone was approaching her. If it was an enemy, her head would have been moved long ago. Yun Chuzhou turned her head with fear and couldn't help but be stunned. She never dreamed that the person behind her was Old Man Yao from the big kitchen. Yun Chuzhou was about to speak when Old Man Yao shook his head slightly at her, indicating for her to leave with him. Yun Chuzhou did not understand, but she still followed Old Man Yao and left. The 2 of them took a few turns and arrived at the back of the mountain of Tianshu Peak. After walking for a while, they finally arrived at a place. Yun Chuzhou felt that this place was somewhat familiar. She recalled that when she was locked in the number 10 reflection cave, she once wanted to use a large kitchen knife to cut a passage to enter the number 11 reflection cave. However, she later discovered that the exit was at the back of the mountain. At that time, she also met Old Man Yao who was picking herbs. This was the place where she met Old Man Yao back then. Why did he bring her here? Old Man Yao, why did you call me here? Did something happen to the primordial chaos sect? Master Bailey and the others, are they okay? Yun Chuzhou asked anxiously. Lu Zitong and the head of the Fan family colluded with the Divine Devil Hall. Bailey Yin and the others are now poisoned and trapped in the primordial chaos square. The other disciples are also controlled by the Divine Devil Hall. In addition, I'm afraid the situation at the Shi Yuan sect is not too good. There are also traitors in the sky-bearing alliance. The situation is critical. Old man Yao said with a heavy tone. Yun Chuzhou then realized that the usually listless old man Yao was like a different person at this moment. If the old man Yao in the past was a rusty kitchen knife, then he was now a cold and sharp blade. At this moment, the aura around old man Yao was even stronger than Master Bailey. Moreover, he was talking about Bailey Yin and not the master. Old man Yao, who exactly are you? Old man Yao laughed self-deprecatingly. Just a cripple. You don't have to care about who I am. Our goal is the same, that is to save people. I know that you can refine pills and are not afraid of poison. These are the dishes that Bailey Yin and the others ate. You first see if you can cure the poison inside, then we can discuss the next step. Don't worry. As this place is not far from the self-reflection cave, the purple-faced woman from the Divine Devil Hall can't scan this place with her spiritual sense. She won't be able to discover us for a while. Yun Chuzhou was not too surprised. The last time Old Man Yao found out that she had destroyed the self-reflection cave, and that the place she lived in was very close to her, so it was not strange for them to discover her clues. Yun Chuzhou took the wine and food that Old Man Yao handed over and immediately ate and drank. Yes, just in time, she was a little hungry. Old Man Yao, was this little girl tasting the poison or filling her stomach? Why did it look like the latter? How is it? Is the antidote to this poison easy to prepare? Old Man Yao asked anxiously. It's not difficult at all. This poison is the upgraded version of the devouring spirit powder. Yun Chuzhou took out a handkerchief and wiped her mouth. Then why didn't the antidote to the devouring spirit powder work? Although Old Man Yao had never heard of the upgraded version, he could guess the general meaning. Besides the antidote of the devouring spirit powder, we also need a medicinal primer, which is the coral fruit, Yun Chuzhou said unhurriedly. Coral fruit? The coral fruit of a level 1 spiritual plant. This is difficult. There is no such low-level spiritual plant in our immortal Yuan continent. It's really fatal. Old Man Yao was so anxious that his forehead was covered in sweat, and he kept spinning in circles. Yun Chuzhou took out a bunch of coral fruits with a smile. Elder Yao, don't worry. I have a lot of these things. They are enough to detoxify the poison. Old Man Yao took the coral fruits from Yun Chuzhou's hand and looked at them. Although he had never seen the real thing, he had seen it from a book. He couldn't help but show a happy expression. Yun Chuzhou recalled the spiritual sense from before and asked, Elder Yao, what's the matter with the purple-masked woman you mentioned? That purple-masked woman is the leader of the Divine Devil Hall. Her spiritual power is extremely high. It seems that she should be at least at the 9th layer of the ethereal space realm, and has even reached the peak of the 9th layer of the ethereal space realm. Her spiritual sense is extremely strong, so I don't dare to act rashly. Moreover, I don't have the antidote in my hands. It's useless to save her. Elder Yao said with a serious expression. Elder Yao, I really don't understand. Since the people of the Divine Devil Hall have captured Master Bailey and the others, why didn't they kill them? Aren't they afraid of endless trouble in the future? Yun Chuzhou asked in puzzlement. Of course she wanted to kill them. However, there was a formation on the origin square. Before the spiritual power of Bai Li Yin and the others was exhausted, they activated the protective shield and killed Lu Zitong. The people of the Divine Devil Hall had captured some disciples. Killing them wouldn't make a difference. At this moment, they were using the lives of those disciples to negotiate with Bai Li Yin. Fortunately, Bai Li Yin wasn't that stupid. Even if the people of the Divine Devil Hall had killed some disciples, he didn't remove the formation on the origin square. Otherwise, everyone wouldn't have survived. Also, it is said that the purple-faced woman kept asking Bai Li Yin to tell her where you are. It seems that she hates you to the bone. After saying that, Old Man Yao looked at Yun Chuzhou meaningfully. Yun Chuzhou shrugged her shoulders. It is not strange for the people of the Divine Devil Hall to hate me. Who asked them to encounter me as soon as they did something bad? Old Man Yao, how about this? Let's split into two groups. I'll go to the entrance and call out the two stone Pishio first. Then, I'll bring them to attract the attention of the purple-masked woman. You take this opportunity to save those disciples first. Then, think of a way to enter the square of origin to save Master Bailey and the others. Old Man Ya did not raise any objections. He said with a solemn expression, try your best to stall that purple-masked woman. The longer the better. As long as her spiritual sense doesn't scan back and forth, I have the confidence to give the antidote to Bai Li Yin and the others. Yun Chujiu nodded. I'm the best at attracting hatred points. Don't worry. Immediately, Yun Chujiu passed a few sacks of coral fruits to Geezer Yao. As for the antidote for the soul-devouring powder, most people had it on them. This was not a problem. Geezer Yao looked at the sacks of coral fruits and could not help but ask in puzzlement, Little Jiu, I really don't understand. Why do you have so many coral fruits? Yun Chujiu naturally would not say that she got them from the Great Void Mystic Realm. She laughed and said, at that time, I was greedy. I was poor and could only afford to buy coral fruits, so I bought more. Old Man Yao believed her and looked at Yun Chujiu with pity. He thought to himself, no wonder this little girl was so greedy. It turned out that she was afraid of being poor. Yun Chujiu didn't know what Old Man Yao was thinking. After separating from Old Man Yao, she carefully arrived at the mountain gate of the Primordial Chaos sect. In order to hit her with one strike, Yun Chujiu didn't hide her strength anymore. She released all the spiritual pets in her spiritual beast pouch and killed all the people guarding the mountain gate without much effort. The two stone Pai Shio were dumbfounded. Had this little girl gone mad? Why did she kill her own people? Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. If it wasn't for the sect leader ring on Yun Chujiu's hand, perhaps the two stone Pishio would have already dealt with her. The Divine Devil Hall has surrounded Master Bailey and the others. Follow me to save them. Yun Chujiu didn't have the time to explain to them, so she said straightforwardly. The two stone Pishio were both honest and determined that Yun Chujiu was the owner of the sect leader ring. Without the slightest doubt, they were obediently put into Yun Chujiu's storage ring and followed her into the Primordial Chaos sect. Not long after Yun Chujiu walked out, there were many people in front of her, blocking her way. Yun Chujiu was very familiar with the person in the lead, the head of the Fan family. Yun Chujiu no longer had anything to hide, so she returned to her original appearance. She used her sleeve to cover up and put the hidden spirit ring back on her hand. Head of the Fan family, previously, your son and grandson joined the Yen clan. Now, you have joined the Divine Devil Hall. Your Fan family is indeed a family with a long history, a family of weaklings. Now that you have become the lackey of the Divine Devil Hall, how will you have the face to meet your ancestors of the Fan clan in the future? The master of the Fan clan looked at Yun Chujiu viciously. Yun Chujiu, all of this was caused by you. If it wasn't for your scheme, how could my son and grandson's future be ruined? If I didn't submit to the Divine Devil Hall, would their lives be ruined? Yun Chujiu, you are going to die today. This is all your retribution. Not only will you die, but those idiots from the Han Yuan sect, the murderous Yuan sect, and the Sky-Bearing Alliance will also die with you. From now on, the Immortal Essence continent will belong to the Yen clan and our Fan clan. Yun Chujiu looked at him as if she was looking at an idiot. Are you brainless? Don't you know that the ultimate goal of the Divine Devil Hall is to find the Eye of Earth Profound and absorb the Earth Profound Qi? When the time comes, there won't be any spiritual Qi left in the Immortal Essence continent. Are you going to be a mushroom here? The head of the Fan family was stunned for a moment, and then he said with a fierce expression, what do you know? Even if the Immortal Essence continent is destroyed, the Purple Masked Lord will take us to a higher level continent. Cut the crap, stinky girl, prepare to die. Although the head of the Fan family was surprised that Yun Chujia's spiritual power had already reached the 4th layer of the spiritual void tier, he was at the 5th layer of the spiritual void tier, and he had so many helpers behind him, so he did not take Yun Chujio seriously. Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes. She reckoned that the purple-faced woman did not know her identity, so the head of the Fan family only brought 20 or so people behind him. It was a piece of cake. Yun Chujio immediately began to release the spiritual beasts with a whoosh. The head of the Fan family and the people behind him watched with their mouths agape. How could this Yun Chujio have so many spiritual beasts? However, weren't these spiritual beasts too weak? 5 level 1 rabbits, a fire-breathing crow that was as fat as a ball, a red two-tailed fox, a little tailless rat, a cat cub, a little bastard, and a little mushroom? The head of the Fan family said disdainfully, they are all unpresentable things. Indeed, the kind of people will be the kind of spiritual pets. Yun Chujio did not say anything and waved her hand, kill. Leave no one alive. When they really fought, those people knew how difficult these spiritual pets were to deal with. Let's not talk about other things, just take the weakest little bastard as an example. It was too fucking despicable. It was sneakily hiding in a big turtle shell to launch a sneak attack. There was no way to do anything to it at all. At this time, Yun Chujio was also fighting with the head of the Fan family. Even though Yun Chujia's spiritual power level was 1 level lower than the head of the Fan family, her movement technique was extremely fast. The head of the Fan family actually fell into a disadvantageous position very quickly. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. The head of the Fan family was both shocked and afraid. This wretched girl's spiritual power was obviously lower than his, so why was she stronger than him? The head of the Fan family had no choice but to release his spiritual beasts. A spiritual tiger and 2 spiritual leopards ferociously pounced towards Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio did not say a word and directly released her spiritual piglet. When the spiritual piglet was about to dissipate, De Hua lazily came out. The 3 spirit beasts of the Fan family head were already trembling, let alone fighting. They almost knelt down and begged for mercy. De Hua, kill this old thing. Yun Chujia's current goal was to lure the purple-masked woman out. As for the Fan family head, she really didn't put him in her eyes. Just as the Fan family head was being beaten back by De Hua, a woman's figure flashed past and slapped De Hua. De Hua did not think much of it and did not even dodge. Instead, she took the blow from the woman directly. Unexpectedly, De Hua's huge body was immediately dispersed by the palm strike. Yun Chujio frowned. Although De Hua only had half of his spiritual power left, this purple-masked woman actually dispersed De Hua with 1 palm strike. Her strength was indeed terrifying. Yun Chujio sized up the woman a few times and felt that she looked somewhat familiar. The purple-masked woman directly took off the mask on her face. Yun Chujio, after not seeing you for a few years, you are still as useless as ever. I said that I will definitely seek revenge on you. Today is the day we settle the score. Su Yenran. TSK, after not seeing you for so long, you still miss me so much? If you like me, just say it out loud. Why do you have to create so many things to attract my attention? Yun Chujio hugged her shoulders and said with a smile. Su Yenran obviously did not expect Yun Chujio to be so shameless, she snorted coldly. You're just playing with your mouth. Previously, you ruined the good things of our divine devil hall a few times. Do you know why I didn't do it myself? Because I'm rushing to cultivate. I want to kill you with my own hands. TSK, your obsession with me is actually so deep. It's indeed the depth of love and responsibility. Well, I don't understand. Putting aside the matter of the divine devil hall, we don't have the hatred of killing our father or stealing our husband. Why did I provoke you? Why do you have to kill me? Yun Chujio's face was full of confusion and helplessness. Su Yenran was stunned by Yun Chujio's question. She thought about it carefully. It seemed that Yun Chujio really did not provoke her. If there was a personal grudge, it was because she did not like Yun Chujio. Why did this trash steal the limelight that belonged to her? Why did this trash easily gain the favor of everyone? Why did this trash always encounter opportunities that others could not wait for? The more Su Yanran thought about it, the more indignant she felt. Her beautiful face was filled with jealousy. Yun Chujio, cut the crap. Regardless of whether we have a personal grudge or not, you have repeatedly ruined the matters of the Divine Devil Hall. You deserve to die. As Su Yanran spoke, she was about to make a move. Yun Chujio stretched out her claws. Wait. I still have one last question. What is your relationship with the person who tore through the void to save you? That person must be the Lord of the Divine Devil Hall. TSK, I'm very curious. Are you his lover? Su Yanran was so angry that her face turned red. Bullshit. I must kill you today. Io, why are you so angry from embarrassment? If not, then not. Why did you leave so excitedly? Anger hurts the body. I was wondering why you age so quickly. I almost thought you were your mother just now. Yun Chujio said with a smile. Hearing Yun Chujio's words, Su Yanran's eyes turned red with anger, and she slapped Yun Chujio with her palm. Yun Chujio had just witnessed Su Yanran's power, so she naturally wouldn't sit still and wait for her death. She used all her strength to leap to the side. Even so, she was still hit by the palm wind on her left shoulder, and she immediately felt that her entire left shoulder was numb with pain. Yun Chujio's heart tightened. What kind of evil cultivation technique did this Su Yanran practice? Why was she so overbearing? Su Yanran saw Yun Chujio hugging her left shoulder and grimacing. She immediately sneered, Yun Chujio, I told you that you're a waste. Indeed, after a few years, you still haven't improved at all. Other than your glib tongue and opportunistic tricks, what else do you know? Yun Chujio rubbed her left shoulder and said with a faint smile, yes, you are right. I just rely on my glib tongue and opportunistic tricks. Do you want to bite me? Besides, what right do you have to say that I'm opportunistic? If you didn't use external force, how could you reach this level of spiritual power? It's really a pot calling the kettle black. Su Yanran was choked by Yun Chujio's words and threw another palm at Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio dodged to the side again. This time, she was not hit by the palm wind. Su Yanran's face was full of a cold smile. She waved her palm repeatedly, forcing Hei Xinjiu to jump left and right. Yun Chujio, did you see it? This was true strength. Spiritual beasts and spiritual pets were not as valuable as strength. Don't you have a lot of messy spiritual pets? Let them out. I'll let you see how I kill them with your own eyes, Su Yanran said arrogantly. Yun Chujio bared her little white teeth. You've reminded me. If that's the case, then take this. As Yun Chujio spoke, she let out the 2 stone pishio. Su Yanran saw the 2 stone pishio and was surprised. She immediately fought with the 2 stone pishio. Yun Chujio took this opportunity to catch her breath. She narrowed her eyes. The 2 stone pishio were obviously not Su Yanran's match. Fortunately, Su Yanran was careless and did not ask her subordinates to help her. Otherwise, she would not be able to hold on for long. Just as Yun Chujio was thinking about it, Su Yanran suddenly jumped away from the 2 stone pishio and pounced on Yun Chujio. The 2 stone pishio wanted to chase after her, but they were stopped by the Fan family's patriarch and the people from the Divine Devil Hall. Su Yanran attacked Yun Chujio while sneering, if you still have any tricks, just use them. I'll make you admit defeat today. Admit your head. No one will admit defeat to you. A person with a hole in his head still has the nerve to spout nonsense here. Yun Chujio said disdainfully. Su Yanran said fiercely, bitch. Nonsense. You are the one with a hole in your head. How am I talking nonsense? You are the one with a hole in your head. Why don't you think about why that master groomed you? Isn't he just using you as a fool? If he was really good to you, why did he let you charge into the battlefield? Why did he leave you in the SU family for more than 10 years without paying attention to you? If it wasn't for him, you would be cultivating happily right now. Why would you have to bear such a bad name? Other than these idiots from the Divine Devil Hall, who wouldn't hate you? Yun Chujo was simply trying to find something to say in order to stall for time. Who would have thought that Su Yanran would be slightly dazed after hearing Yun Chuji's words? She shook her head. No, that person wasn't using her. It must be that bitch Yun Chujo who instigated a rift between them. What nonsense. Yun Chujo was so smart. When she saw the change in Su Yanran's expression, she was delighted. Oh my, her nonsense actually hit the little bitch's sore spot. Thus, this guy continued to shout, Su Yanran, don't deceive yourself. That person is using you. You are a beautiful woman, how could he have the heart to use you like this? He is simply a bastard. These few years must not have been easy for you, right? Sigh, no matter what, we are old acquaintances. I really sympathize with you. Su Yanran's expression became even more absent-minded, and the movements of her hands also slowed down. Yun Chujo knew her own limits, and she did not launch a sneak attack. Because she knew that a sneak attack would not succeed. Anyway, she could drag it out for a while. When Master Bailey and the others came out, everyone would attack together. She did not believe that they could not kill her. After a moment, Su Yanran's expression became cold and ruthless again. Bitch! I almost fell for your trap again. Cut the crap, you must die today. You are not the king of hell. If you want me to die, I must die. Dream on. Although Yun Chujo said it easily, she was forced by Su Yanran like an ant on a hot pot, jumping around randomly. She had no choice but to release De Hua. In just a few moves, Su Yanran finished him off. Yun Chujo had no choice but to release De Hua again. This time, it was repeated. Although this guy was abnormal, his spiritual power was not enough to release De Hua again. Beads of sweat also appeared on Su Yanran's forehead. She originally thought that she would be able to kill Yun Chujo easily. She did not expect that after spending so much effort, she still could not hurt her at all. She could not help but be angry. At this moment, chaos broke out on the other side of the mixed Yuan Square. Su Yanran frowned. She could not care less about Yun Chujo and immediately jumped over. Yun Chujo stomped her feet in frustration. Oh no! Old Man Ya must have been discovered. She had two stone Pishio hold back the Fan family's master and the others and ran to the mixed Yuan Square in a flash. When she arrived, Su Yanran was already fighting with Old Man Yao. When Old Man Yao saw Yun Chujo, he revealed an apologetic expression. Little girl Jiu, it's my fault. I didn't expect that bastard Bien Chen to be a member of the Divine Devil Hall. He was the one who ruined our plan. Bien Chen. Yun Chujo didn't have a deep impression of him. He seemed to be a true disciple, and his master seemed to be Elder Linghu. Just as Yun Chujo was thinking about it, she saw a person dressed as an inner disciple, tossing a few coral fruits in his hands. With a face full of ridicule, he said, Yun Chujo, you also have this day? Although I don't know if these coral fruits and the antidote for the spirit-devouring powder are the antidote for the carefree powder, you already have no chance to hand these coral fruits over to them. Fortunately, I was quick-witted and deliberately blended in with the captured disciples. Otherwise, I would have really let you have your way. Oh right, you still don't know, right? Back then, when you were taking the entrance test, I was the one who increased the difficulty for you. However, you are really lucky, you actually managed to get in. Also, I sent someone to bribe Manager Zhong from the law enforcement department, but that idiot didn't listen to my arrangements after that. Oh right, it was also my idea that you were framed by Lu Shun a few days ago. I just didn't expect you to be so lucky that you didn't die even after that. However, it doesn't matter. Now that Lord Purple Mask is here, you can only die. Elder Linghu, who was inside the array formation, gnashed his teeth in anger. Beast! Beast! How did I teach you such a beast? I'm a sinner. I'm a sinner of the Chaos Origin sect. Bien Chen pursed his lips. People walk higher and water flows lower. The primordial chaos sect is no match for the divine devil hall. What's wrong with me defecting to the divine devil hall? Old thing, for the sake of master and disciple, open the formation. I can beg the purple-masked lord to spare your life. Elder Linghu was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood and fainted. Yun Chuzhou could not be bothered with a villain like Bien Chen. Her brain was working quickly. The current situation was extremely disadvantageous to them. Should she stay or think of a way to get help? Before Yun Chuzhou could think of a plan, she heard Old Man Yao shout, "Little Jiu, quickly leave this place. I'll hold her back." Su Yanran sneered and forced Old Man Yao back with one palm. Then, she said to the people behind her, "You want to leave? None of you can escape today. Drag those two bitches out." Old Man Yao panted heavily. Although he was not injured, it was obvious that he had used up a lot of his spiritual power during the fight with Su Yanran. Yun Chuzhou and him stood back to back. At least, they could prevent sneak attacks. Yun Chujia's heart sank when she saw the people being brought over. The people they were holding were Jin Ji and Yi Bingyu. Su Yanran smiled coldly. "Yun Chuzhou, I heard that these two people have a deep relationship with you. What do you think? Do you choose to die or them?" Jin Ji and Yi Bingyu did not say anything because their relationship with Yun Chuzhou did not need to be expressed in words. No matter what decision Yun Chuzhou made, they had no objections. Su Yanran saw the conflicted and painful expression on Yun Chujia's face and enjoyed it very much, so she did not rush her. Yun Chuzhou was now like a rat. She could kill her anytime and anywhere, but before she died, she had to torture her properly in order to resolve the hatred in her heart. Yun Chujia's hands were tightly clenched, and blood even oozed out from her palms. She forced herself not to be blinded by anger, and she had to stay calm. She could only rely on herself now, and she could definitely do it because she still had many things to do. She could not give up just like that. Yun Chuzhou gritted her teeth and ordered the Guai Chao to release as much fragrance as possible. This way, it would attract countless demonic beasts, although she was not sure if she could convince those demonic beasts, but at least those demonic beasts would be able to cause an impact on the people of the Divine Devil Hall. However, she had to think of a way to buy some time. Before the demonic beasts arrived, she had to at least guarantee that Jin Ji and Yi Bingyu would not be killed. Su Yanran finally lost her patience and said viciously, "Yun Chuzhou, what are you thinking about? Are you going to die or are they going to die? Su Yanran, you are going against the will of the heavens. You will be struck by lightning." Yun Chuzhou said angrily. Boom! A bull-sized bolt of lightning descended from the sky and struck Su Yanran. Although it did not cause any damage to Su Yanran, it shocked everyone present. Yun Chuzhou said this to stall for time because she did not have confidence in her jinx skill. Who would have thought that it would actually succeed? Yun Chuzhou immediately felt confident and snorted, "Su Yanran, did you see that? Tian Dao can't stand it anymore. If you don't stop now, you'll be struck by lightning." Su Yanran looked up with lingering fear. There was no cloud in the sky, but it was a bolt of lightning that struck her. Was it really Tian Dao who was punishing her? Su Yanran sneered, "It's just a coincidence. Can a good-for-nothing like you really command the heavenly lightning?" Yun Chuzhou placed her hands on her waist and said with a smug look, "You don't believe me? Then I'll let you enjoy the taste of being struck by lightning again. You little bitch, being struck by lightning while pretending to be cool. Kill her." Hearing Yun Chujia's words, everyone raised their heads nervously to look at the sky, especially Su Yanran. She stared at the sky with full vigilance, afraid that another heavenly lightning would fall. However, nothing happened. Yun Chuzhou laughed dryly. "Humph. I was just teasing you. Look at this time." Su Yenran, you are going against the natural order, you will be struck by lightning. Everyone nervously looked at the sky again, but nothing happened. Yun Chujo cursed in her heart. This damn jinx skill, why did it not work at the crucial moment? Su Yenran sneered, Yun Chujo, a person should know his own limits. You are the heavenly thunder spirit root that the heavenly Tao cannot tolerate, yet you still think that the heavenly thunder will help you? It is simply a joke. Don't stall for time here. Whether you die or the two of them die, you choose. Yun Chujo bared her little white teeth, none of us will die, the one who should die should be you. Su Yenran snorted coldly and said to her subordinate, since she is so stubborn, let's kill one first. Seeing that the people from the Divine Devil Hall were going to kill Jin Ji, Yun Chujo quickly said, wait. I'll think about it again. Su Yenran glanced at her with contempt. Seeing her conflicted and hateful expression, she felt very pleased. She said coldly, then give me half an incense's time. If you still don't kill yourself by then, I'll kill them. Yun Chujo mumbled, sigh. Am I going to die or are they going to die? Logically speaking, they're all my friends. It wouldn't make sense if I didn't save them. But, a person only has one life. If they die, there's nothing left. Sigh. I'm so worried. Should I save them or not? Su Yenran looked at Yun Chujo and felt very relieved. Torturing her like this was even more satisfying than killing her. Old Man Yao and Yun Chujo's backs were facing each other. He understood that Yun Chujo was trying to stall for time. However, they were in a dilemma internally and externally. Even if they delayed for a period of time, there would not be any reinforcements. Could she have any other way? When everyone looked up at the sky just now, Old Man Yao wanted to save Jin Ji and Yi Bingyu. However, the people from the Divine Devil Hall surrounded them from all sides. He could not find a chance to do so. Su Yenran finally lost her patience. Yun Chujo, it's time. Are you going to kill yourself or sacrifice the two of them? Su Yenran, I admit defeat today. How about this? My life is quite valuable. Besides the two of them, let the others go and I'll kill myself. Yun Chujo said with a righteous expression. Su Yenran was stunned at first, then, she laughed contemptuously. Yun Chujo, aren't you treating yourself too lightly? Even if you can escape today, you'll be caught by my people sooner or later. It seems that you don't want to give up your own life. Kill them both. Wait. Wait. I choose to kill myself. Yun Chujo gritted her teeth and stomped her feet. Su Yenran was stunned. She didn't expect Yun Chujo to really choose to sacrifice herself to save those two people. It was extremely stupid. However, it was a great thing to be able to force her to death. Since you are so loyal, then do it now. Su Yenran said with a cold smile. Yun Chujo sighed. I, Yun Chujo, can also be considered a chivalrous woman of my generation. No, a prodigy of my generation. From a trash who couldn't cultivate to the fourth layer of the spiritual space realm, from a little adopted daughter of the Yun family to a little ancestor of the Chaos Origin sect and the Killing Origin sect, she actually died today. It really makes people sigh. Su Yenran curled her lips. Stop talking nonsense. If you want to die, then be quick. Otherwise, I'll kill them. Yun Chujo looked at Su Yenran meaningfully. Su Yenran, we can be considered old acquaintances. I'm about to die. Can't I say a few last words? You're too heartless. Moreover, if I die, won't you be lonely? You won't have an idol like me in the future. Do you still have the motivation to cultivate? You only exist because of me. If I die, you will lose the meaning of life. If I really die, you will regret it. Don't really lose me. Only then will you know what it means to treasure. Everyone present was dumbfounded. 10,000 divine beasts roared in their hearts. Was this Yun Chujo sick? What nonsense was she spouting? After hearing Yun Chujio's words, Su Yenran actually felt a little lost in her heart. If this Yun Chujio was dead, what would her future goals be? However, Su Yenran soon realized that she had been led astray by this damn Yun Chujio. She was so angry that her head was buzzing. The reason why she did not force her hand was because Old Man Yao's spiritual power was not as high as hers. However, it was not a problem to delay her for a moment. Moreover, this Yun Chujio had a bunch of messy spiritual pets. Perhaps she could really escape. When that time came, it would be too difficult to catch her again. Therefore, she used Jin Ji and Yi Bingyu to force her to commit suicide. Su Yenran roared in anger, "Yun Chujio, if you say another word of nonsense, you won't have a chance to choose." Yun Chujio quickly covered her mouth and nodded desperately, indicating that she understood. Yun Chujio took out a large kitchen knife and gestured a few times on her neck. She grimaced and couldn't move, so she put away the large kitchen knife. Then, this guy took out a rope and put it around her neck. He stuck out his tongue and stuck it out, then put away the rope. Then, he sighed and took out a bottle of pills. He ate them all like chewing candy, but not only did he not die, he was even more lively. Then, this guy took out another piece of tofu and slapped it on his forehead. He shrugged his shoulders, meaning that he still did not die. Su Yenran was so angry that she almost vomited blood. "Yun Chujio. What are you doing?" Yun Chujio pointed at her mouth. "Didn't she mean to not let her speak?" "I'll let you speak." Su Yenran felt her head buzzing. This bitch was really detestable. Fuck. I can finally speak. I'm suffocating. I was committing suicide just now. You saw it yourself. I tried several methods but failed to die. I was also very helpless. I really want to commit suicide. Yun Chujio said with an innocent expression. Su Yenran glared at Yun Chujio and sneered, "Yun Chujio, don't play tricks in front of me. Kill them. As for this Yun Chujio, I don't believe that I can't kill her today." Yun Chujio saw that Su Yenran was planning to fight to the death. She quickly said, "All right. All right. I will seriously commit suicide this time. I promise that I will die completely. However, you have to swear that if I really die, you have to let the two of them and Elder Yao leave." Su Yenran sneered. She had actually made a poison vow. Then, she looked at Yun Chujio. "Can you die now?" Yun Chujio knew that she couldn't drag this on any longer. Su Yenran's patience had reached its limit. If she still couldn't think of a way, she would really kill Jin Ji and Yi Bingyu if she was desperate. This guy was extremely anxious. Why didn't the damn demonic beasts move? The demonic beasts were running slowly. The demonic birds and demonic insects should have flown over by now, right? Just as this fellow was extremely anxious, he suddenly heard the people from the Divine Devil Hall exclaim, "Sir! Look at the sky." Su Yenran raised her head and saw a dark mass in the distance. She did not know what was moving rapidly towards them. When Yun Chujio saw it, her heart immediately burst with joy. "It's coming! It's coming! It's coming!" No matter what comes, as long as it can distract Su Yenran and the Temple of God, she can find an opportunity to fish in troubled waters. They soon saw what was in the sky. It was a large swarm of wasps, stinger wasps, double stinger wasps, trichogramma wasps. The person of Temple of God and Demon is suddenly a fluster. How come so many poisonous bees come out of nowhere? Although the level of spiritual power was not high, it was still fatal when it was pricked on the body. Moreover, there were so many of them. Soon, the poisonous bees arrived in front of them. The people of the Divine Devil Hall quickly responded to the battle. However, despite the numerous deaths and injuries of the poisonous bees, they still rushed in without caring about their own safety. Hei Xinjiu was secretly happy. She was now surrounded by the people of the Divine Devil Hall. Those idiots could help her block the poisonous bees. At first, Su Yanran was caught off guard by the poisonous bees, but she quickly calmed down. She took out a few packets of medicinal powder and waved them at the bees. The bees seemed to be very afraid of the medicinal powder and flew away unwillingly. Yun Chujo quickly let Guai Chao continue to release the fragrance. The bees flew back again and were scared away by the medicinal powder again. Su Yanran frowned. She felt that something was strange. Why did these damn swarm of bees keep staring at them? Just as Su Yanran was puzzled, a large number of demonic birds flew over from afar. The number was so large that it almost blocked the sun. The people of the Divine Devil Hall were in a mess. They really could not understand why there were demonic insects and demonic birds attacking them. First, there was heavenly thunder, and now there were demonic insects and demonic birds. Could it really be the punishment from Tian Dao? Su Yanran shouted coldly, "What are you panicking for? They are just some low-level demonic birds. Kill them." The people of the Divine Devil Hall only calmed down after hearing that and began to fight with the demonic birds. Yun Chujo thought it was a pity that there were no high-level demonic birds and demonic beasts near the Primordial Chaos sect. These low-level demonic birds would probably die soon. She had to think of a way quickly. Just as Yun Chujo was thinking of a way, Su Yanran directly jumped behind Jin Ji and Yi Bingyu. A hand was strangling a person's neck. "Yun Chujo, I've already given you a lot of time. Now, I'm going to count to 3. If you don't die, I'll strangle them to death." 1, 2, when Su Yanran counted to 2, her hand had already begun to exert force. Jin Ji and Yi Bingyi's faces were flushed red, and it was obvious that they couldn't breathe. Yun Chujo clenched her hands tightly, and fresh blood dripped from her palms once again. Meng Yanshou had used the Dream Realm in the immemorial ice field once, and now it could not be used again. It seemed that Xiao He could only curse her. Just as Su Yanran was about to say those 3 words, she suddenly staggered, and Yun Chujo and Old Man Yao jumped up at the same time. Su Yanran was too confident. She did not expect that she would suddenly stumble. She was caught off guard by Yun Chujo and Old Man Yao, so she could only let go of Yi Bingyu and Jin Ji. Yun Chujo threw the little bastard in her sleeve to the ground. The little bastard immediately summoned his turtle shell and protected Yi Bingyu and Jin Ji inside. Yun Chujo let out a sigh of relief in her heart. She finally managed to protect Jin Ji and Yi Bingyu. As for the other disciples, Yun Chujo was not so selfless. Su Yanran wanted to use them to force her, Su Yanran was so embarrassed that she could not understand why she suddenly stumbled. It was really detestable. However, even without the hostage, she could still kill Yun Chujo. As soon as she gave the order, the rest of the people from the Divine Devil Hall came over and entangled Old Man Yao. Su Yanran waved her hands and forced He Xinjiu to retreat. Because she couldn't leave Yi Bingyu and Jin Ji behind, she couldn't run away now. She could only look forward to the arrival of a large group of demonic beasts. Finally, a large group of demonic beasts rushed over. However, the level of their spiritual power was too low. They were stopped by the people from the Divine Devil Hall before they even got close to the Mixed Origin Square. Yun Chujo was so frustrated that she wanted to bang her head against the wall. What should she do? She had already used all the methods that she could. She had quite a number of talismans, but they were basically useless to a pervert like Su Yanran. Moreover, the reason why she could still hold on was that Su Yanran wanted to kill her by herself. If she was shameless enough to let the crowd beat her up, she would not be able to hold on for long. The reason why Yun Chujo did not release her spiritual pet was because she was afraid of angering Su Yanran. If she were to let the crowd beat her up, she would really have no way of surviving. In a moment of desperation, Yun Chujo had a flash of inspiration. She still had dejected Little Lightning. According to Curly Hair, when she was extremely angry or sad, Little Lightning would come out, but why didn't she come out now? Was it because she wasn't too angry now? Was she not too sad? Yun Chujo tried her best to open her eyes wide, trying to force Little Lightning out, but in the end, other than a pile of tears, there was nothing else. Su Yanran was stunned. Yun Chuzhou was beaten to tears by her. She said disdainfully, Yun Chuzhou, it's useless for you to cry. If you knew this would happen, why did you do it in the first place? You're dead today. Not only are you dead, all of you are dead. Oh right, not only will these people die, even those who are related to you in the Tianyuan continent and the Qingxian continent will not live. Especially the Yun family. I will not let a single person go. Even the servants of the Yun family will die. Su Yanran, you are not a human. Aren't you afraid of retribution for helping the wicked? Yun Chuzhou gritted her teeth in anger. Retribution? The strong are respected. If you're weak, you deserve to die. You piece of trash, when I kill the Yun family, I'll tell them that it was all because of you that they died. If they hadn't picked up a bastard like you, they wouldn't have such a tragic ending. It was all because of you. Ha ha ha. The more Su Yanran spoke, the more excited she became. She felt that it was so satisfying to see Yun Chuzhou clenching her teeth and feeling helpless. Every time Su Yanran spoke, Yun Chuzhou's expression turned colder. Her body was filled with anger and unwillingness. She deserved to die because she was weak. Then she had to become stronger. She had to become the strongest person in the world. No one could hurt the people around her. If someone did that, then they would die. Su Yanran looked at Yun Chuzhou in a daze as if she had suddenly become a different person. Her originally laughing appearance had disappeared, and her entire person had become cold and stern. The way she looked at her was so cold that it was as if she was looking at a dead person. Su Yanran subconsciously took a few steps back, and then she felt that her actions were a little ridiculous. This Yun Chuzhou was the best at playing tricks. She must be pretending again. Yun Chuzhou, do you think you can fool me like this? You're really stupid. A useless person like you is a burden to others. I'll send you on your way now. As Su Yanran spoke, she slapped Yun Chuzhou in the front. When she saw Yun Chuzhou standing there without dodging, she thought to herself, this useless person must have accepted his fate. However, just as her palm was about to hit Yun Chuzhou's feet suddenly moved. Su Yanran only saw a shadow, but a murderous aura came from behind. Su Yanran quickly used all her strength to leap forward. Before she could turn back, the murderous aura came from behind again. Su Yanran had no choice but to dodge to the side again. When she turned her head to look at Yun Chuzhou, she was stunned. She saw that Yun Chuzhou's eyes were filled with purple lightning. Su Yanran could not help but be in a daze. At this time, Yun Chuzhou's palm wind had already arrived. Su Yanran dodged a little slower, and her left shoulder was swept by Yun Chuzhou's palm wind. It was so painful that she staggered. You are not a human. Su Yanran said with some fear. Yun Chuzhou looked at her coldly and said in a calm tone, you are a human, a dead person. Su Yanran couldn't help but feel a sense of fear under Yun Chuzhou's gaze. This was a reaction of her spiritual sense being suppressed. Although she was unwilling and resentful, she couldn't help but want to retreat. Are they all dead? Let's attack together. Kill this witch. Su Yanran shouted in exasperation. Only then did the people from the Divine Devil Hall wake up from their dreams. Thousands of people rushed towards Yun Chuzhou. Su Yanran sneered at the side. Yun Chuzhou, no matter how monstrous you are, no matter what tricks you have, you will be tired to death today. You fool, you are not in a hurry to escape, and you still want to save people? How stupid. Soon, a group of dead bodies fell around Yun Chuzhou, but there was still a steady stream of people rushing up. Yun Chuzhou was beginning to lose her patience. When she was slightly distracted, someone stabbed her heart with a sword. Fresh blood flowed out from the wound, and soon, her clothes were dyed red. Su Yanran was so happy that she did not care about the pain in her left shoulder. She struck Yun Chuzhou with her palm. Yun Chujo was sent flying by Su Yanran's palm for dozens of feet before she fell heavily to the ground. Su Yanran jumped to her side and looked at Yun Chujo with her eyes closed. She couldn't help but sneer, "Yun Chujo, in the end, you still died in my hands. This is your retribution." Su Yanran raised her hand and was about to give Yun Chujo another palm when the great formation of the mixed Yuan square was opened. Master Bailey and the others jumped out from inside and headed straight for Su Yanran. Su Yanran was shocked. These people were all hit by the carefree powder. How did they suddenly recover? She didn't have the time to give Yun Chujo another palm strike before she was forced to the side by Mountain Master Zhua, who jumped over from the side. Only then did Su Yanran realize that only a small number of people had come out of the array. The vast majority of them were still sitting on the ground. She immediately felt relieved. These people couldn't stir up any waves at all. At this time, Yun Chujo had already been taken into the turtle shell by the little bastard. Jin Ji and Yi Bingyu had lost all their spiritual power. Their hands trembled as they tried to touch Yun Chuji's nose. When they realized that there was no sound, they immediately felt a sharp pain in their hearts. Little Jiu, did she die just like that? They blamed themselves in their hearts. If it wasn't for saving them, little Jiu wouldn't have died. She could have escaped. It was all because of them that little Jiu was implicated. At this moment, Master Bailey and the others were outnumbered and were surrounded. After Su Yanran took the pill, the injury on her left shoulder was much better. She glanced at Master Bailey and the others with disdain. "If it weren't for that bitch Yun Chujo who repeatedly sabotaged our plan, the immortal Yuan continent would have long belonged to our divine devil hall. I'll give you one chance. As long as you surrender to our divine devil hall, we'll spare your lives. Otherwise, none of you will survive." Master Bailey and the others naturally wouldn't surrender. Even if they had to risk self-destruct, they would still be heavily injured by the divine devil hall. They couldn't let their scheme succeed. Just as Master Bailey and the others were about to self-destruct, a person walked out from the big turtle shell. Everyone's eyes were fixed on her. Yun Chujo. She didn't die. The aura on Yun Chuji's body was even more murderous than before. It seemed that even the last bit of the mortal world aura had disappeared. The purple lightning in her eyes looked even more dazzling, and mesmerizing. Su Yanran roared, "Don't look at her eyes. Yun Chujo, you're lucky." "Why? Do you want to die again?" Yun Chujo looked at her emotionlessly and said coldly, "Since you've lived enough, then kill her." As soon as Yun Chujo said that, the lightning in her eyes flew towards Su Yanran and the people of the Divine Devil Hall. The air was immediately filled with a burning smell and shrill screams. After all, Su Yanran's spiritual power was quite high. She had dodged Yun Chuji's little lightning. She said in a terrified tone, You are not a human. You are a monster. No, you are a devil. You idiots, you thought she was helping you. She is a devil. Why don't you kill her?" Although Master Bailey and the others were very surprised by Yun Chuji's change, they were not stupid enough to be provoked by Su Yanran. They once again started to fight with the people of the Divine Devil Hall. Yun Chujo walked towards Su Yanran coldly. Every step seemed to step on her heart. Su Yanran could not help but start to retreat. She felt the shadow of death looming over her. She was extremely unwilling. Why? Why did she lose to this trash Yun Chujo even though she was already so strong? Why did she still lose to this trash Yun Chujo even though she had endured for so long? Why was it that even though she had worked so hard, she was still not as good as this good-for-nothing who spent all her time eating, drinking, and having fun? Su Yanran was extremely panicked and angry. She shouted out all the dissatisfaction and doubts in her heart. Yun Chujo curled the corners of her lips slightly. "You're not satisfied? Do you know why you lost?" "Because," Yun Chujo paused slightly at this point and then spat out 3 words indifferently. "You deserve it." Su Yanran was so angry that she was about to go crazy. However, she had to admit that she was no match for Yun Chujio. What the fuck? She was about to win, so how did this trash suddenly become stronger? If Su Yenran knew that her words had angered Yun Chujio, and Yun Chujio had triggered the little lightning bolt, she would probably regret it. The small lightning in Yun Chujio's eyes shot towards Su Yenran. Su Yenran felt that the sky and earth were covered by purple lightning. She knew that she was dead. The spiritual energy barrier that she had set up quickly cracked. She could even smell the burnt smell. A figure flashed in Su Yanran's mind. She could not help but smile bitterly. Whether it was to use it or something else, all of this was going to end. Yun Chujio looked at Su Yanran calmly. Her mind was blank at this moment. There was neither joy nor sorrow. At this moment, a crack appeared in the sky. A huge hand was smacking towards Yun Chujio. Although Yun Chujio's mind was blank, her Buddhist instincts were still there. With a sudden leap, she dodged the huge hand. When Yun Chujio came back to her senses, a huge pit had appeared where she was standing. The huge hand had disappeared without a trace. Su Yenran had also disappeared without a trace. Yun Chujio looked at the deep pit on the ground with empty eyes. She closed her eyes and fell to the ground. When Yun Chujio woke up, she realized that she was on the bed in the dormitory. Yi Bingyu and Jin Ji were sitting by the bed with concern. "Little Joe, you're awake? That's great. We knew you would be fine." Jin Ji and Yi Bingyu were so excited that they cried and laughed. Yun Chujio rubbed her eyes. "Are we alive or dead? Why is this hell exactly the same as my dormitory?" Jin Ji burst into laughter. "Little Joe, what nonsense are you talking about? Of course we're all alive. If it wasn't for you, we'd probably all be dead. You're now the great hero of the immortal Yuan continent." Yun Chujio looked at them blankly. "I became a hero again. But I clearly remember that I wasn't Su Yanran's opponent. How did I become a hero?" Jin Ji and Yi Bingyu looked at each other and said, "Little Joe, have you forgotten that there were suddenly a lot of purple lightning bolts in your eyes and that you killed everyone?" Yun Chujio shook her head. "I only remember that when I was fighting with Su Yenran, she said that I was a waste and that she wanted to kill the Yun family members. I don't remember anything else." Jin Ji and Yi Bingyu were stunned. Then, Jin Ji said, "Little Joe, you might have forgotten some things because you were overstimulated. But, it doesn't matter, we will tell you. Your eyes were full of purple lightning at that time." Yun Chujio was not too surprised. After all, she had already experienced it once before. This was not a sad little lightning, but a sad little lightning with amnesia. Fuck, it seemed like she would lose her memory every time she used it. It was enough. "You said that Su Yenran was saved by another giant hand?" "That's right. That giant hand wanted to slap you to death. Fortunately, you dodged it cleverly. It was too scary." The owner of that giant hand was probably that whatever master of the Divine Devil Hall. His strength was really too terrifying. It said that he should have reached the level of a god, Jin Ji said with lingering fear. Yun Chujio nodded. She had a feeling that she and Su Yenran would meet again. She had to work hard to cultivate. After all, this dejected little lightning was really not reliable. She did not know when it would appear. Yun Chujio remembered the things that Enfeng had brought to Jin Ji, so she quickly transferred it to Jin Ji. Jin Ji blushed and spat. "It must be something he doesn't need, so he threw it to me." Yun Chujio, Jin Ji and the little lunatic were really a couple. Even their lines were exactly the same. Have you ever thought about the feelings of those things? Jin Ji and Yi Bingyu chatted with Yun Chujio for a while and told her to rest well before leaving. Yun Chujio got up to exercise and found that there was nothing wrong with it, so she left the courtyard. After this battle, the Chaos Origin sect was already in ruins. Fortunately, they were all cultivators, so their recovery speed was very fast. Yun Chuzhou strolled toward the meeting hall. The servants and disciples she met on the way bowed respectfully to her and repeatedly thanked her. Yun Chuzhou waved her hand in a pretentious manner and then continued to walk forward. This guy sighed in his heart. She saw that in the eyes of those people, besides respect and gratitude, there was also some fear. Perhaps they really regarded her as a freak. After Yun Chuzhou arrived at the meeting hall, Master Bailey and the others naturally expressed their gratitude again. Little Ancestor Yun, it's all thanks to your timely arrival this time. Otherwise, not to mention the primordial chaos sect, the entire immortal Yuan continent would have been controlled by the divine devil hall. Master Bailey said gratefully. Yun Chuzhou smiled. I am the disciple of the two ancestors. Naturally, I will not stand idly by. Oh right, how did you recover your spiritual power later on? Master Bailey's face showed a look of admiration. Master Bailey, the last time in the sky-bearing alliance, did you deliberately give us those coral fruits to cure the poison? No wonder the people from the Divine Devil Hall were surprised to see that we were not poisoned. Although Yun Chuzhou was very proud in her heart, she still said indifferently, it's just a small matter, don't take it to heart. When Master Bailey and the others saw how calm Yun Chuzhou was, they thought to themselves, Little Ancestor Yun is Little Ancestor Yun. I reckon that now is her true self. Previously, she deliberately pretended to be out of sorts. She's really wise but foolish. Master Bailey continued, at that time, when we heard what Bian Qin said, we remembered that we still had some coral fruits that you gave us back then. Therefore, we drank the antidote to the spirit-devouring powder. We didn't expect that we would really recover our spiritual power. Yun Chuzhou nodded and asked again, didn't you guys lose all your spiritual power? How did you open the storage ring? Little Ancestor Yun, you might not know this, but when we felt that something was wrong, we forcefully used our spiritual power to suppress the effect of the medicine, so we still have some spiritual power left. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to open the protective array, Master Bailey explained. Then, how is the situation with the Origin-killing sect and the Sky-bearing alliance? It has all been resolved. After all, the main force of the Divine Devil Hall is in the Origin Chaos sect. Yun Chuzhou nodded her head in gratification. Sigh. I have also worried so much for all of you, so please be more careful in the future. My injuries this time are not light, so please give me more good things. This way, I will be even more gratified. Everyone, the image of the cold and aloof Master Yun in their hearts instantly collapsed. So it was still that greedy, shameless, and badass bag. Yun Chuzhou suddenly remembered something and asked mysteriously, oh right, what's wrong with that old man Yao? Who exactly is he? You should properly thank him. Master Bailey's face revealed a guilty expression. If we count, Senior Brother Yao entered the Primordial Chaos sect in the same batch as us, but he has always been in charge of breakfast in the big kitchen. After so many years, everyone only knows that there is an old man Yao in the big kitchen. They have long forgotten that he has already entered the sect for many years. Compared to him, we have lost our original intention. No wonder our spiritual power has not improved. Yun Chuzhou smiled and said, every profession has its own specialty. Besides, everyone has their own aspirations. Just like this little ancestor, no matter how hard I try, I can't learn how to make peace. Doesn't that not prevent me from becoming a great hero? Master Bailey and the others listened to Yun Chuzhou's words. They felt that they had one thing that they could not catch up to Yun Chuzhou in this life, no, in the next life. That was that this girl's skin was really thick. Yun Chuzhou chatted with the others for a few more sentences. It was nothing more than cleaning up the remnants of the Divine Devil Hall, the parties, and so on. Then, she left the meeting hall. Master Bailey suggested that she move to the courtyard at the peak of Dubhe Peak. However, Yun Chuzhou waved her hand and refused. The courtyard she was living in now had memories of her and Di Baiming. How could she bear to move to another place? From that day onwards, the people of the Primordial Chaos sect rarely saw Yun Chuzhou leave the courtyard. They did not cause any trouble anymore. Everyone felt a little uncomfortable. Why did this bad guy suddenly turn over a new leaf? Other than eating and sleeping, Yun Chujo spent all her time cultivating. She had never felt such a sense of crisis in her heart. Whether it was the Yun family or the Divine Devil Hall, they would find trouble with her sooner or later. She had to become stronger. Unfortunately, her situation was special. After cultivating for a period of time, the thunder spirit energy in her dantian had reached a state of saturation. She had to think of a way to be struck by lightning. It was rare for Hei Shinjo to not have the intention of having a thought hole. She had already destroyed 3 thought holes. If all of them were destroyed, she would be the eternal sinner of the Chaos Origin sect. Yun Chujo pondered for a moment. It was not a solution to go on like this. She had to do something that went against the heavenly principles and the Tian Dao. Therefore, Hei Shinjo left the Chaos Origin sect and began to wander around the entire Immortal Origin continent. This fellow returned to the Mo family. Mo Ching thought that Yun Chujo was looking for him to settle the score and was so scared that he didn't even dare to show his face. Yun Chujo couldn't help but laugh at herself. When she first came to the Mo family, she could be said to be treading on thin ice with trepidation. Now, the tables had turned. After Yun Chujo found Mo Cheng, she didn't do anything to him. In the end, Yilan and Mo Cheng only had their own motives. Yun Chujo asked some questions about Yilan. Mo Cheng naturally told her everything he knew. He was afraid that Yun Chujo would destroy the Mo family if she was unhappy. The things that Yun Chujo asked from Mo Cheng were similar to what Lin Yang said. There was no difference. After Yun Chujo left the Mo family, she really had nowhere to go. Hence, she went to the Ancient Ice Long again. The Ancient Ice Long on the Ancient Ice Long was really unlucky. Yun Chujo, this fellow, felt that since there was no heavenly lightning to strike her for the time being, she would just practice her skills. The spiritual power of other demonic beasts was too weak, but the Ancient Ice Long was a level 46 demonic beast, which was equivalent to a human's spiritual space between the 7th and 8th levels. It was really the best for her to practice her skills on it. Yun Chujo was not a match for the Ancient Ice Long at the beginning, but this fellow ran away when he could not beat it. Moreover, he had the help of his spiritual pets. Although it was a little embarrassing, this fellow was never tired of it. Therefore, the angry cries of the Ancient Ice Long were often heard on the Ancient Ice Field. The Ancient Ice Long was so angry that it was about to burst out. This damn human. Its spiritual power was obviously much lower than its, but it could not catch Yun Chujo. It was so angry that it was about to die. Moreover, as time passed, the Ancient Ice Long discovered that although Yun Chujia's spiritual power level did not change, her movement technique was obviously much faster. At the beginning, she could only hold on for 15 minutes, now, she could hold on for more than an hour. On this day, Hei Shinjo was communicating with the Ancient Ice Long when the sky turned dark. Yun Chujo was overjoyed. The reason why she came to the Ancient Ice Long was to be struck by lightning. Because there were no divine weapons in the Ancient Ice Long, she had nowhere to hide. That old bastard Tian Dao would definitely think that it was a good opportunity to strike her to death. Therefore, there was an 80 to 90% chance that heavenly lightning would strike her. Yun Chujo knew that this was a risky move, but she had no choice. If she wanted to quickly increase her spiritual power, she had to take this risk. Moreover, she thought of a bad move. Ah, a good idea. The gigantic body of the Ancient Ice Long shuddered for some reason. Why did it feel that the human girl was looking at it strangely? At this moment, the sky became even darker. The Ancient Ice Long raised its head and looked at the sky. It felt that something big was happening, so it shook its gigantic body and walked towards its ice cave. Its ice cave was a huge hole dug out from a 10,000-year-old glacier. It took it several years to dig out this hole with its claws and claws. It could be said that it was its proudest work. It was not boasting, but there was definitely no other ice cave as wide, sturdy, and perfect as this one in the ancient ice plains. After walking for a while, the ancient ice long suddenly turned its head and saw the little human girl following it neither too far nor too close. It could not help but roar at her fiercely. It originally thought that with this scare, the little human girl would turn around and run away. Who would have thought that the little human girl would look at it with a smile? It said to it, "Hey, little monkey, you go your way, I'll go mine. We won't interfere with each other." Every time the ancient ice long heard Yun Chujo call it little monkey, it had the urge to slap her to death. It looked at the darkening sky, gritted its teeth, and ignored Yun Chujo. It quickly ran toward the ice cave. Yun Chujo strolled behind the ancient ice long with her hands behind her back. She had been staring at the ancient ice long's ice cave for a long time. The 10,000-year-old glacier was already extremely hard. In addition, the ancient ice long's ice cave was dug out from the glacier. The heavenly lightning would not be able to destroy it in a short period of time. It was the perfect shelter for her. The ancient ice long did not know that this fellow had a black heart. After entering the ice cave, it stretched its neck and looked out. Yun Chujo stopped a few thousand feet away from the ancient ice long's ice cave. She raised her head and looked at the gathering dark clouds. The dark clouds that came this time were the dark clouds that struck her the last time. They trembled a few times. It was obvious that they were shouting at Yun Chujo. Yun Chujo remembered that it was because of this dark cloud that the pretty boy was frozen in advance. Hence, she said coldly, "Wang Ba Yun, unless you kill me today, I will make your soul scatter sooner or later." The dark cloud in the sky trembled violently. Wu Yun thought to himself, this little ant said that it would make its soul scatter. He really overestimated himself. Today, he would make its soul scatter. Rumble. 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 Several purple lightning bolts struck down towards Yun Chujo. Inside the ice cave, the ancient ice long's eyes were wide open. "Io, so this lightning bolt was aimed at this little girl? Damn it. It would be better if it killed her. To actually call it a little monkey, it really deserved to die." Ancient ice long felt that after these lightning bolts, even if the little girl did not die, she would still be heavily injured. After all, each lightning bolt was as thick as a bowl. However, the little human girl seemed to be fine. She even stretched and said, "I haven't been struck by lightning for a long time. It's so comfortable." Ancient ice long, is this little girl sick? Moreover, it seemed that she was quite sick. How comfortable was she to be struck by lightning? Wu Yun in the sky was also trembling in anger. The lightning bolts kept striking Hei Shinjo. When Yun Chujo felt that it was about time, she took out Xiao Hanyo and Xiao Mogu and asked them to help resist the lightning. When Xiao Hanyo and Xiao Mogu had absorbed enough, she released De Hua to resist it for a while. When De Hua couldn't resist it anymore, she released Meng Yanshou. The ancient ice long was dumbfounded. Oh my god. What the hell are these things? Why aren't they afraid of being struck by lightning? The ancient ice long rubbed its eyes with its huge claws and slapped itself again. It realized that it was not a dream, it was actually real. No wonder this little girl was so abnormal. It turned out that the spiritual pet she raised was also abnormal. Just as the ancient ice long was in shock, it saw the little girl put away the nightmare beast and then ran toward its ice cave with a whoosh. The ancient ice long was stunned at first, then it had an ominous premonition. Before it could figure out what exactly was going on, the little girl had already jumped into its ice cave. "Little monkey, it's an emergency in Jianghu. Please forgive me." Ancient ice long, fuck. What did it mean? Was it trying to take over the magpie's nest? Or was it trying to divert the trouble? Fuck, it couldn't do that. This little girl was really too mean. Who did it offend? It was a good demon beast that abided by the law. What right did it have to get involved in this mess? Ancient ice long just didn't know how to speak. Otherwise, it would definitely send Yun Chujo a loud and clear word, scram. The ancient ice long wanted to eat Yun Chujo up, but the ice cave was limited. It was not easy for it to turn around. Furthermore, Yun Chujo was standing on its back, so it had no way to bite her. The one who was more confused than the ancient ice long was naturally the dark clouds in the sky. It had never thought that Yun Chujo, this badass, would think of such a wicked idea. Wu Yun was flustered and exasperated as he struck several heavenly lightning bolts at the ancient ice long's ice cave. Although those heavenly lightning bolts could turn around, they were already greatly weakened when they entered the cave. Moreover, they all struck the unlucky ancient ice long's body. The ancient ice long was so depressed that it wanted to vomit blood. It was supposed to strike that smelly girl, but now, it had become a scapegoat. It was simply bullying a beast. Even though the power of the heavenly lightning had weakened quite a bit, it still hurt when it struck its body. The snow-white fur of the ancient ice long was quickly turned into curly fur, and it was estimated that it would soon turn into a hairless hoe. Just as the ancient ice long could not bear it any longer and wanted to rush out of the ice cave, the human little girl rushed out with a whoosh and roared at Wu Yun in the sky, "Pooey! You blind bastard, if you want to chop me, then chop me. Why do you want to hurt the innocent? The little monkey provoked you, but not only did you chop its cave, you even chopped it. You are simply shameless." The ancient ice long was so moved that tears filled its eyes. What a good scolding, what a fucking good scolding. Wu Yun was blind, why did he want to chop it? Wait, that's not right. Why did it have to be struck? The main culprit was that damned little human girl. If she had not entered uninvited, would it have been struck by lightning? Fuck. She almost got it. Wu Yun in the sky was so angry, that damned little girl. She had been a good person, and the bad things had been pushed to its head. It was too despicable. Boom. 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 Countless bolts of lightning struck down fiercely at Hei Shinjo. Hei Shinjo was happily absorbing the power of the lightning. Previously, because she had become smaller, her meridians were unable to withstand so much of the power of the lightning. Now that she had transformed back, and her spiritual power level had increased, her endurance was naturally much stronger than the last time. Ancient Ice Long looked at the situation outside the cave with a burning head of fireworks. This human little girl was simply inhuman. How could she recover so quickly? After more than an hour, Hei Shinjo could not hold on any longer. With a whoosh, she jumped into the ancient Ice Long's ice cave again. Little monkey, take a break in the middle. You hold on for a while. Ancient Ice Long, damn it. Why should she let it hold on? Who was it to her? She could not bully a beast like that. Wu Yun in the sky did not know the relationship between Yun Chujo and the ancient Ice Long, so the ancient Ice Long was unlucky enough to be struck again. Little monkey, you are really stubborn. Can't you change your position to be struck? Your head will become bald if you are struck again. Yun Chujo said sneakily as she combed through the violent lightning spiritual force in her body. Ancient Ice Long, it actually despised it. She still had the face to say that it was stubborn. If not for her, would it have been struck? Although the ancient Ice Long hated Yun Chujo to death, it still slightly changed its direction. After all, curly hair was much better than bald lady. Besides, it was cold in this world of ice and snow without any hair. The ice cave was soon filled with the smell of burnt hair. Hei Shinjo covered her nose and said, "The smell is too bad. You'd better get out." Ancient Ice Long, damn it. This was its cave. Its cave. Its cave. This shameless girl actually let it out. Wu Yun in the sky probably hated it to death. If it went out, it would be chopped into ashes. Ancient Ice Long had never felt so aggrieved before. Not only was the ice cave occupied by someone else, but it also wanted to chase away its rightful owner. It was too shameless. Just as the ancient Ice Long was fuming with anger, Hei Shinjo jumped out again. Wang Ba Yun, Miss is out again. Strike me. Let's hurt each other. Let's have fun together. The dark clouds in the sky felt that Wu Yun was fuming with anger. Since ancient times, it had never heard of such a perverted human. This was simply an expert in anger. Wu Yun struck again and again. When He Xinjiu could not take it anymore, she jumped into the ice cave again. The unlucky ancient ice long had no choice but to take the blame again. Finally, the Wu Yun in the sky trembled and left in anger. Before it left, it even snowed. These were its tears. It was too fucking angry. Before the ancient ice long had the time to settle the score with He Xinjiu jumped out with a whoosh. Little monkey, thank you. Look at how shiny your new look is. The ancient ice long dashed out of the ice cave with a whoosh and shone on the ice wall that was as smooth as a mirror. Its originally white long fur had now turned into curly fur and was even emitting wisps of black smoke. Roar! Roar! The ancient ice long was about to go crazy from anger. It roared and chased after He Xinjiu relentlessly. It only had one goal now, and that was to eat that darn girl, He Xinjiu. As the ancient ice long chased after it, it discovered that the human girl's body was flickering with light. It was obvious that she had broken through. The ancient ice long felt very unbalanced. This darn girl was really lucky. Not only was she not struck to death by lightning, she had even broken through. It was truly infuriating. Just as the ancient ice long thought of this, it saw that the girl's body was flickering with light again. It was stunned. She had actually broken through 2 levels. She was really lucky. Then, it discovered that Yun Chujia's body flashed with a dazzling light again. Damn it, she could not live anymore. She had actually risen by 3 levels all of a sudden. Just as the ancient ice long was fuming with anger, it was stunned to find that it was also about to break through. The ancient ice long had been stuck at level 46 for a very, very long time. Never in its wildest dreams would it have thought that it would break through now. Oh my God! It was as if the heavens had eyes. The heavens must have seen that it was too aggrieved, so they gave it compensation. Woo woo, it finally believed that a good beast would be rewarded. Just as He Xinjiu was burying her head in running, she realized that there was no movement behind her. She turned her head curiously and saw that the ancient ice long's body was shining. This guy had also broken through. He Xinjiu narrowed her eyes and thought, it's good that it has broken through. It can continue to be her sparring partner. This can also be considered as a reward for helping her take the blame. He Xinjiu stared at the ancient ice long from afar. She calculated in her heart that she had advanced 3 levels this time and was already at the 7th level of the ethereal space realm. After her realm was stabilized, she would cultivate for a period of time and she would be able to let Guai Chao and Black Bead help her break through to the Dantian. She would definitely be able to break through to the 8th level of the spiritual space realm. At that time, she would be able to go down to the boundless ice abyss to see the pretty boy. After the ancient ice long had completed its breakthrough, it saw Yun Chujiu, who was baring her teeth at it not far away. Yun Chujiu waved her small claws. Little monkey, congratulations. Don't you have to thank me properly? If it weren't for me, would you be able to change into such a shiny appearance? If it weren't for me, would you be able to break through? The ancient ice long howled in anger. Thank her. It was thanking her for 8 generations of ancestors. The ancient ice long pounced at He Xinjiu, and He Xinjiu ran forward swiftly. As it ran, it smacked its lips. Little monkey, you are really ungrateful. Not only are you not thanking me, you actually want to eat me? Doesn't your conscience hurt? Little monkey, it's not that I want to criticize you, but your original style was so outdated. Now, your style is so shiny. I believe that you will soon get rid of the title of being a bachelor for 10,000 years. You will definitely find a little wife soon. Ancient Ice Long was both embarrassed and angry. It wished that it could slap He Xinjiu into a meat patty with one paw. However, He Xinjiu was slippery. It was not easy for her to catch up. After a while, she would slip away. When the ancient ice long was panting and resting, she went up to provoke it again. The ancient ice long was so angry that its head was almost smoking. In the following period of time, other than cultivating, Hei Shinjo would fight with the ancient ice long. Of course, at the beginning, this fellow could only be abused. He was constantly being chased by the ancient ice long. However, she would be able to hold on for a period of time soon. Time flew by quickly. Due to Hei Xinjia's diligent cultivation, the thunder's spiritual power in her dantian was once again saturated. She felt that it was time to break through to the 8th layer of the spiritual space. Hei Shinjo found a place far away from the ancient ice long and let Xiao Hei dig an ice cave. After entering, she let Guai Chao and Black Bead use the thunder's spiritual power to attack her dantian. After a full 3 days, Hei Xinjia's spiritual power finally rose to the 8th layer of spiritual space. Yun Chujo finally revealed a bright smile. She could finally meet the gigolo. It was not that she did not want to go down to the bottomless ice abyss to meet him, but she felt that she did not have the face to meet him. Now, she could finally meet him. Hei Shinjo came out of the ice cave and was about to head to the bottomless ice abyss when the sound transmission talisman in her storage ring started to vibrate. Yun Chujo took it out and took a look. It was sent by great-grandfather Yi. After she sent her spiritual sense in, great-grandfather Yi's words made her face instantly darken. Little Jiu, a group of people came. They said that they are from your father's family. Their spiritual power is very, very high. They said that if you don't come back immediately, they will destroy the Yi family. Yun Chujo held the voice transmission talisman tightly. The Yun family had finally come. The voice transmission talisman trembled once again. Old Master Yi's aged voice carried a pleading and terrified tone as he said, "Little Nine lass, come back quickly. Consider it as great-grandfather begging you. They want to kill your grandfather and your cousin Wenhong." Yun Chujia's heart was filled with sorrow. In Old Master Yi's heart, she would never be able to compare to the Yi family's interests, much less her grandfather and cousin Wenhong. Back then, her mother was the one who was sacrificed, and she was the same today. Even so, Yun Chujo could not bear for the Yi family to really be destroyed. After all, she would have to return to the Yun family sooner or later because Yilan was still in their hands. Yun Chujo calmed herself down and said, "He'll return immediately, but I'm very far from Yi City now. I might need 20 days. After a full quarter of an hour, the voice transmission talisman began to vibrate again. It was likely that they had discussed and negotiated earlier. Little Jiu, they said that they would come back to the Yi family in 20 days. Come back as soon as possible. Sigh. Yun Chujo could hear some helplessness and guilt in the old Master Yi's voice, but so what? In the end, she was still sacrificed. Yun Chujo felt that in her previous life and this life, she had only experienced what was called true kinship in the Yun family of Qingxian continent. As for the Mo family and the Yi family, they had taken advantage of it. Yi Bingyu and her were not so much kinship as friendship. Even though her maternal grandfather and her second uncle had treated her well, it was more of an exchange of debts and benefits than pure kinship. Yun Chujo curled the corners of her lips. Fortunately, she still had her mother. She had to save her mother from the Yun family. So what if it was the Yun family? So what if it was the sky-high continent? No one could stop her from doing what she, Yun Chujo, wanted to do. Yun Chujo turned her head and looked in the direction of the bottomless ice abyss. "Prince Charming, I will be waiting for you in the sky-high continent." Yun Chujo silently muttered in her heart, then turned around and resolutely walked towards the edge of the ancient ice field. Yun Chujo didn't return to the Han Yuan sect and the Shi Yuan sect. She only sent a voice transmission talisman to Master Bailey and the others, briefly telling them what happened so that they wouldn't miss her. On this day, Yun Chujo arrived at the Yi family. Other than Yi Bingyu and Yi Bingying, all the members of the Yi family were present. Old Master Yi said with tears streaming down his face, "Little Jiu girl, great-grandfather has let you down, but I have no choice. If you don't come back, those people will really destroy the Yi family. Yun Chujo said indifferently, Great-grandfather, I can go with the Yun family, but I have a few conditions. If you don't agree, I'll leave right now. You can't stop me. Great-grandfather Yes' expression froze. Now, not to mention him, even the people of the primordial chaos sect might not be able to stop this little girl. He could only ask, what conditions? Raise grandmother Lan as a flat wife, and my mother will become the first daughter of the Yi family. I don't want to go to the Yun family. Someone is using this as an argument. Also, when my mother married my biological father, the Yi family did not pay a single dowry. They gave it all to me. Even if I go to the Yun family, I won't be so poor that I won't even have the money to reward the servants. As soon as Yun Chujo finished speaking, Ji Yishir said sharply, Impossible. You're simply wishful thinking. That bitch from the Lan family still wants to be on equal footing with me. No way. Yi Xinwan, who was at the side, also echoed, That's right. Once a concubine for a lifetime, the Lan family still wants to become an equal wife? What a joke. Moreover, Yi Lan was clearly married to Mo Cheng back then, and now there's the Yun family. It's basically a private affair, a marriage, and even wants a dowry. Before Yi Xinwan could finish her words, she was sent flying and fell unconscious with a choking sound. Fan Sushua saw that her mother was sent flying by Yun Chujo and cursed angrily, Bitch, how dare you hit my mother? It's all because of you that my father and brother were killed. I'll fight it out with you. Yun Chujo did not even look at her and sent her flying with a slap. Coincidentally, she landed on Yi Xinwan, who was about to get up. Everyone in the Yi family was shocked. Gushir was both angry and afraid. She pointed at Yun Chujo and said, You actually hit Aunt. What are you trying to do? Yun Chujo slowly walked in front of Gushir. Gushir was intimidated by Yun Chujo's coldness and pressure. Her face turned pale. What are you trying to do? I am your grandmother. If I remember correctly, the Fan family colluded with the Divine Devil Hall, so they should all be wiped out. Why are Yi Xinwan and Fan Sushua still alive? Do you think I don't know that you protected them in my name? I just don't want to argue with you. Now, you have returned my kindness with enmity to slander my grandmother and my mother. Do you think I should kill you directly for the people? If not for the sake of the Yi family's reputation, do you think you still have the need to live? As she spoke, Yun Chujo grabbed Gushir's neck, tightening it bit by bit. Gushir's face instantly turned from pale to livid, and she looked like she was about to faint. Old Master Yi and the others were scared silly, but no one made a sound to stop her. Just as Gushir thought she was dead for sure, Yun Chujo released her hand, then, she smiled faintly and said to Great-grandfather Yi, Grandmother Gu is seriously ill, so don't see outsiders in the future. In addition, since the Yi mother and daughter are remnants of the Fan family, they should have the consciousness of remnants. Isn't there a manor on the outskirts of the Yi family? Just move there and live there. As for great-uncle and great-aunt, you should be grateful that you have a good son. Otherwise, I would have killed that evil daughter of yours long ago. Don't think that I can't control you just because I went to the Towering Sky continent. There are many people from the Killing Origin sect and the Chaos Origin sect who can help me deal with you. All of you obediently behave yourselves. We can be considered relatives, so I won't make things difficult for you. If you stir up trouble, then die. In any case, this Yi family also traded my freedom for it. Although Yun Chujo had a faint smile on her face at this moment, the words she said made people shudder. Gushir and Yishir did not dare to say a single word, afraid that Yun Chujo would directly kill them in the next moment. Although Old Master Yi felt that Yun Chujo's way of doing things was too overbearing, he did not say anything, he sighed. I'll agree to everything you said. Go to your mother's courtyard and rest. I reckon that the Yun family will arrive in the next 2 days. Yun Chujo nodded. After bowing, she turned around and left the living room. Gushir and the other two naturally cried and begged for mercy. Old Master Yi snorted. If you don't stop, don't blame me for being ruthless. Gushir and the other two saw the killing intent in Old Master Yi's eyes and immediately stopped. They knew that their good days were coming to an end. Yun Chuzhou arrived at Xiaohua Garden, and the servants came up to her eagerly. Yun Chuzhou washed up briefly and then took out a drawing paper to draw Xiaohua Garden. There was a slight smile at the corner of her mouth. Her mother would definitely like this gift. That afternoon, great-grandfather Yi announced that the Lan family and Yilan's identities had changed. He also moved the Lan family's grave to the Yi family's ancestral grave early the next morning. Old Master Yi sent another 100 million high-grade spirit stones to Yun Chuzhou as Yilan's dowry. Yun Chuzhou felt that with the Yi family's strength, it was not bad to take out these, so she did not raise any objections. In fact, this fellow did not lack money at all. She did not even know how much money she had now. There was no need to mention the spirit stones. Just the spirit stones alone were a lot of them. The reason why she asked for Yilan's dowry was to help her mother vent her anger. Moreover, she wanted to let the Yi family know how painful it was. Don't think that the mother and daughter were soft buns and would just sell them out for fun. Yi Binjia's mother, Min Shi, specially sent Yun Chuzhou some pastries and clothes that she liked to eat. After asking about her well-being. Then, she said, Little Jiu, second aunt's gratitude towards you can no longer be described with words. Second aunt has nothing to repay you with. She can only give you a few words of advice. Second aunt knows that you are very smart and have a high status. However, those people from the Yun family did not come with good intentions. Your current spiritual power is no match for them. When you arrive at the Yun family, you must restrain your temper and not act rashly. You need to hide your strength and conceal your intentions. When the time is ripe, you need to take action and wait until the clouds open and the moon shines. Second aunt believes that you will definitely be able to do it. When she said this, Min Shi felt a little uncomfortable. Little Jiu, I know that you are smart. Perhaps you have already thought of what I said. Yun Chuzhou held Min Shi's hand and said softly, Second aunt, little Jiu understands your intentions. Don't worry. I know what I should do. I won't act recklessly. Oh right, back then, Sister Bingyu said that she was looking for the rainbow crystal mushroom to make medicine for you. I have one here. Please accept it. After receiving it, Min Shi's face turned slightly red. This was because the rainbow crystal mushroom was used to prescribe medicine that was easy to conceive. Yun Chuzhou was well aware of this and did not expose it. The two of them chatted for a while more before Min Shi left. Yun Chuzhou sent Min Shi off. Just as she was about to cultivate, her grandfather, Yi Yuanliang, came. Yi Yuanliang's face was filled with guilt. Yun Chuzhou could understand him. There was the old Master Yi who had authority and authority. Beside him was the arrogant and domineering Gushir. Perhaps he really had feelings for the Lan family and also had feelings for Yilan, however, his personality determined that he would only hide when he met with difficulties. Yun Chuzhou did not understand Yi Yuanliang's purpose for coming, so she did not say anything after getting someone to serve tea and pastries. Yi Yuanliang sighed and passed a box to Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou did not understand why he gave her a box out of the blue. Little Jiu, your grandfather is useless. He could not protect your mother, and he can't protect you now. The things in this box were left behind by your grandmother. Take it with you. Your mother will remember you when she sees it. Yun Chuzhou suddenly understood. However, Yilan should have taken everything from the Lan family back then. Why was there still a box? Yi Yuanliang seemed to have seen through Yun Chuzhou's doubts and explained, this box was found when you renovated your grandmother's house later. Yun Chuzhou nodded. So that was the case. Otherwise, according to her mother's personality, she would have taken everything from her grandmother long ago. Yi Yuanliang passed another 10 million high-grade spirit stones to Yun Chuzhou and sighed. Grandpa is useless. This is all I have left. You can keep it for a rainy day. Yun Chujo didn't refuse. If she didn't accept it, Yi Yuanliang would feel even worse. After Yi Yuanliang left, Yun Chujo opened the box and saw that there was nothing valuable inside. There were only some clothes, jewelry, and some scattered things. However, one of the inconspicuous jade plates caught Yun Chujo's attention. Yun Chujo picked up the jade plate and looked at it. The material of this jade plate was actually the same as the jade plate that she had dug out from a few pagodas. Yun Chujo had never seen jade of this material in the world, and there were also no records of it in the various ancient books. Yun Chujo looked at the jade plate carefully. There was not a single word on it, only some strange patterns. Yun Chujo pondered for a while but could not figure out the reason, so she kept the jade plate alone. The rest of the things were still in the box. At noon the next day, a servant hurried over to report, "Miss, the people from the Yun family are here." Yun Chujo nodded and strolled to the reception hall in the front yard. When Yun Chujo entered, she found that old Master Yi and Yi Yuanliang were standing respectfully. A middle-aged man was sitting on the main seat, and a dozen guards were sitting on the rest of the seats. Yun Chujo's eyes darkened, and she looked at the middle-aged man sitting on the main seat. "Who are you from the Yun family?" The middle-aged man looked at Yun Chujo up and down, thinking that this ninth Miss Spiritual Power was not good, but she was pretty good-looking. When he heard Yun Chujo's question, he said arrogantly, "My father is the second steward of the Yun family, and I am the steward in charge of the carriage department. You can call me Manager Lu." The corners of Yun Chujo's mouth curled up slightly. "Then who am I to the Yun family?" Manager Lu pursed his lips, but he still said, "Your father is the former duke of our Yun mansion, and you are ranked in the ninth, so you are the ninth young lady of our Yun mansion." Just a few words, and Yun Chujo's heart was stirred up. The former lord? This meant that either her father was dead or the position of lord had been taken by someone. Either way, her father must have lost his power. Otherwise, Manager Lu would not be so arrogant. Yun Chujo glanced at Manager Lu, who had a disdainful look on his face. She said coldly, "Since I am the master and you are the servant, why are you sitting on the main seat? Don't you people even know the basic dignity? Why don't you greet me when you see me?" Manager Lu was stunned. Did this country bumpkin really think that she was a dish? She was just an outdated miss, yet she still put on airs with him. She really overestimated herself. Manager Lu said with a fake smile, "Ninth Miss, you haven't entered the Jade Archive of our Yun mansion, so it's hard to say whether you are the master or the servant." Manager Lu thought that Yun Chujo would cower in fear after he said that. What kind of storm could a little girl from a lower continent stir up? Yun Chujo smiled indifferently and her voice was still cold and clear. "Manager Lu, it's hard to say whether I'm the master or not, but you must be a servant. In this life, in the next life, in the next life, you are our Yun family's dog slave. When inviting people, you must have an attitude of inviting people. Don't think that just because you use these people from the Yi family to threaten me, I will obediently give in. People live for themselves, not for others. If you don't satisfy me today, don't even think about going back to report to me. Oh right, don't think that just because your people are powerful, you can forcefully kidnap me. I have many ways to escape, and it won't be a problem for me to drag you all along for a few years. After all, my mother played you all for a few years back then. You." Manager Lu was so angry that he gritted his teeth. His father was the one who led the capture of Yilan back then, and he had been played by Yilan for a few years. He did not expect this wretched girl to be as difficult to deal with as her mother. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. The guards who were sitting could not help but stand up. They did not have Manager Liu's good father. If this ninth miss really said something, they would be in trouble. Although this ninth miss did not have much status, since they had spent so much effort to find her back, the higher-ups must have an ulterior motive, so it was better to stop when the time was right. Manager Lu was lucky. He gritted his teeth and stood up. He thought to himself that there was still time in the future. When he returned to the Yun mansion, he would have 100 ways to torture her. Now, he would first bring her back to the Yun mansion. Standing like a wooden stake. Don't tell me you don't even know the most basic etiquette. Yun Chuzhou said with disdain. Manager Lu looked at Yun Chuzhou with a gloomy face. Miss Zhou, one must leave some leeway in doing things. Otherwise, when we meet in the future, it won't look so good. Let's talk about the future later. Besides, how can a dog slave like you have any leeway to talk to me? Why aren't you coming down to greet me? Yun Chuzhou said with a sneer. Manager Lu almost vomited blood from anger. He thought that this ninth miss who grew up in a low-grade continent would definitely let him flatten her. He didn't expect her to be so arrogant. However, this was also good. One look and one could tell that she was an arrogant, despotic, and brainless fool. When she entered the Yun mansion, those masters would definitely treat her well. Manager Lu walked to Yun Chujia's side with a gloomy face and bowed to Yun Chuzhou together with the guards. Your subordinate greets ninth young miss. Yun Chuzhou did not pay attention to them. Instead, she let old Master Yi sit on the main seat, let Yi Yuanliang sit on the lower right, and she sat on the lower left. Old Master Yi and Yi Yuanliang's foreheads were covered in sweat. They were trembling in fear. What was little Zhou doing? If she did this now, how could she have a good ending in the Yun family? Although the two of them were drumming in their hearts, they didn't dare to persuade her. They could only sit on their seats without saying a word. Yun Chuzhou asked the servants to bring over tea and pastries again and started to eat. Manager Lu and the others were left in the middle of the living room. They were so depressed that they wanted to bang their heads against the wall. Manager Lu couldn't take it anymore. Miss Zhou, it's getting late. We should set off. If we can't make it back in time, the princess will be angry. Yun Chujia's heart skipped a beat. He didn't say that the prince would be angry, but that the princess would be angry. It seemed that this Manager Li and his father should be the princess people. What's the hurry? You've waited for so many years, and you still need such a short time. If I'm not full, how can I have the strength to hurry on my way? Could it be that you're carrying me? Manager Lu gritted his teeth and stood like a wooden stake in the middle of the living room, watching He Xingjiu eat and drink. Finally, He Xingjiu finished eating a plate of pastries, then stood up and bowed respectfully to old Master Yi and Yi Yuanliang. Great-grandfather, little Jiu is leaving now. You two take care. Yi Yuanliang's eyes reddened. Although he had some use and schemes in his heart, he still felt some pity for her. He sighed and said, Little Jiu, be careful. Yi Yuanliang also said, Little Jiu, the Yun family is not like our Yi family. Don't be willful and act recklessly. Take good care of your mother. Yun Chuzhou nodded and looked at Manager Lu and the others with disdain. Let's go. Do you want me to invite you? You don't have any discerning eyes and don't know how you became a manager. The people of the Yun family probably don't have good eyesight. Manager Lu wished he could slap Yun Chuzhou to death, but he didn't dare to. He cursed angrily in his heart, Bitch, there's a time for you to cry. Let's wait and see. After leaving Leaf City, Manager Lu summoned his flying spirit tool. After everyone boarded the flying spirit tool, they headed south. Yun Chuzhou pondered in her heart. There was probably another passage from the immortal essence continent to the towering sky continent besides the boundless ice abyss. However, this flying spirit tool was much faster than the immortal essence continents. When she arrived at the towering sky continent, she also got a few to play with. Yun Chuzhou walked around the exquisitely decorated flying spirit tool and then drew something into her storage ring. Oh my, this lamp stand looks good. I'll keep it. This cushion is really beautiful. I'll keep it. This table looks quite unique. I'll keep it. Manager Lu obviously didn't react at first. He stared at it with his mouth agape for a while and then shouted, "What are you doing?" "This is the Princess Flying Spirit tool. All the things in it were chosen by the princess. In order to let everyone praise her kindness and generosity, Princess Yun lent her flying spiritual device to Manager Lu. If she knew that Yun Chuzhou had a criminal record, she wouldn't have done this." Yun Chuzhou continued to put the things in her storage ring and said, "The princess is either my aunt or uncle. Why should I make a fuss about taking her things? Get out of my way." Manager Lu was about to stop her when he heard Yun Chuzhou say casually, "If you do anything, I will smash all these things. Then I will say that you did it. If you don't believe me, you can try and see who will be punished." You. Manager Lu had never seen such a shameless person. He did not know what to say for a moment. Yun Chuzhou didn't care about him. Soon, the flying spiritual tool became empty, leaving only a lonely bed. Of course, this was because He Xingjiu wanted to lie on it. Otherwise, she would have put it away long ago. Manager Lu was so angry that he gnashed his teeth, but he didn't dare to really attack Yun Chuzhou. After all, Consort Yun had specifically instructed him to bring Yun Chuzhou back with him without leaving any loose ends. Seeing her act like this, Manager Lu could only endure it and make a rough guess. He couldn't help but sneer in his heart. "As long as you have something in mind, I can make you submit obediently. Let's play slowly, there's no rush." The flying spirit tool was very fast. 3 days later, the group arrived at a valley in the south of the immortal Yuan continent. The climate in the valley was humid and hot, and there were dense spirit plants everywhere. Perhaps because Manager Lu and his group's spiritual power was too high, no demon beasts came out to die. After walking for nearly half a day, Yun Chuzhou saw a stone platform in the distance. Some patterns were carved on the stone platform, and it looked very ancient. Could it be a teleportation array? Who would have thought that there was a teleportation array hidden in the depths of this dense forest that led to the towering sky continent? Manager Lu took out a jade token from his storage ring and threw it into the air. He then began to form a seal. The jade token suddenly shot out a beam of light and shone in the middle of the stone platform. The entire stone platform shone in all directions. It was obvious that the teleportation formation had been activated. Manager Lu gritted his teeth and said, "Mischievous, please." Yun Chuzhou slowly walked into the teleportation formation. Manager Lu and the others also entered the teleportation formation. Manager Lu made another hand seal and the jade token returned to his hand. A dazzling light flashed in front of Yun Chuzhou's eyes. After an unknown period of time, she finally stepped on the ground again. When Yun Chuzhou regained her sight, she realized that they were standing on a stone platform. It was exactly the same as what she had seen before. It must be a teleportation array in Atlas mainland. Yun Chuzhou slowly walked down the stone platform. When she saw Manager Liu's smug expression, she sneered in her heart. Did he think that she was already in Atlas mainland, so she could only be at his mercy? He was really naive and stupid. Just as Yun Chuzhou was thinking about it, she heard Manager Lu say in disdain, "Mischievous, now that we have arrived at the towering sky continent, I advise you to be more sensible. Otherwise, there will be no benefits for you." Yun Chuzhou looked at the surrounding environment and said indifferently, "Manager Lu, your brain is probably not very good. No matter where you are, it can't change the fact that I am the master and you are the servant. I also want to give you a piece of advice. If you provoke me even a little, I will repay you 100 times more when I return to the Yun mansion. If you don't believe me, you can try." Manager Liu's expression changed a few times. Although he did not think that Yun Chuzhou would be able to stir up any trouble, when he thought of the princess methods, he still felt that it was better to complete the mission first. When he returned to the Yun mansion, he would have a way to deal with this bitch. Thus, Manager Lu pointed in a direction and said, "Mischievous, let's go this way. Demonic beasts are rampant here. The lowest level is a level 46 demonic beast, so you'd better be careful." Yun Chuzhou walked forward without commenting. She pondered for a few days and felt that this time when she returned to the Cloud Mansion, her principles were only two words: arrogant. The Yun Mansion could not wait to bring her back. Either they had some ulterior motive or they were trying to shut others up. No matter what the reason was, they were reluctant to kill her. At least for the time being, her life would not be in danger. Since that was the case, she would not be bullied. She would do whatever she wanted to be arrogant. She wanted to see what they were up to. After walking for a short distance, a huge tiger blocked their way. Yun Chujo did not know the name of this tiger, but it was clear that its spiritual power level was very high. Yun Chujo said lightly, "I have no choice. I am a waste, so I will leave this kitten to you." Manager Lu and the others, damn it, why did they feel that this guy was even more proud when he said that he was a waste than when he said he was a genius? Could it be that the Immortal Essence continent was proud of being a waste? Lai Yen was even more confused. Damn it, you are the little cat, I am the iron-tailed flaming gorgeous tiger. Yun Chujo hugged her shoulders and watched the few guards fighting with the tiger. The tiger was outnumbered and quickly fled in a panic. Yun Chuji's heart trembled. When these people were in the Immortal Essence continent, their spiritual power level seemed to be restricted. Now that they had recovered, their spiritual power level was not just a little bit higher than hers. She was really weak now. TSK, but thinking about it, she was very excited. She liked the process of becoming strong from weak. She liked the way these people looked at her with displeasure but could not kill her. She liked stepping on these people who looked down on her step by step. Along the way, they encountered a few waves of demonic beasts. Although Manager Lu and the others were slightly injured to varying degrees, it was not a big deal. After they left the dense forest, they flew for another 3 days on flying spirit tools and saw a towering city in the distance. Yun Chujo could not help but sigh. They were indeed afraid of comparing goods. She had previously thought that the cities in the Immortal Essence continent were very grand and magnificent, but compared to the city in front of her, there was simply no comparison. After the flying spiritual device landed, Hei Xinjiu slowly walked down. She raised her head and looked at the two big words on the city, Encheng. This guy curled his lips. What a vulgar name. It was simply not worthy of such a high-class city. When Yun Chujo was looking around, she heard a commotion behind her. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. The Crown Prince is back in the city. Yun Chujo subconsciously turned around and saw a few young men and women riding a spirit beast that looked like a horse. There were also some walking soldiers behind them. The man in the lead was riding a snow-white spirit beast. He had sharp eyebrows and bright eyes. He was quite good-looking, but to Hei Xinjiu, who was used to seeing all kinds of beautiful men, he was nothing special. The man was dressed very luxuriously, and they had previously called him the Crown Prince. Could this be the so-called Crown Prince? Yun Chujo felt that it was getting more and more interesting. This towering sky continent seemed to be different from the Immortal Origin continent. It seemed that it should be ruled by the royal family. Manager Lu glanced at Yun Chujo, and he despised her in his heart. What a country bumpkin. Seeing the Crown Prince, he was like a flower, like a fool. He didn't even know how to bow and avoid him. Manager Liu's eyes flashed, but he did not remind Yun Chujo. He thought that it would be good for this bitch to offend the Crown Prince so that he could vent his anger. Yun Chujo naturally would not stand in the middle of the road and wait to be hit. She came back to her senses and lightly jumped to the side to make way for him. When Yun Chujo saw Manager Lu and the guards kneeling on the ground, she frowned. Could it be that she had to kneel and bow too? She didn't want to kneel down to this bullshit Crown Prince. Thus, this guy squatted next to Manager Lu. Manager Lu, are all the people in the Immortal Yuan continent bowing like this? Squatting. Fortunately, the Crown Prince was obviously not interested in them. He didn't even look at them and walked past them. Just as Yun Chujo was about to get up, she heard a gentle voice, Lu Hua. Why are you here? Greetings, Princess Shiyu. I was ordered by the princess to go to the immortal Yuan continent to fetch the 9th Miss back, Manager Lu said respectfully. His attitude towards Yun Chujo was like the difference between heaven and earth. Could it be that this lady is my poor 9th sister? 9th sister, please stand up quickly. How can you give such a big gift? The woman said with a distressed tone. Yun Chujo raised her head and looked at the woman who spoke. She had a beautiful appearance and an elegant temperament. She said that she would get up quickly, but she didn't even get down from the spirit beast. Obviously, it was just a formality to win people's hearts. What a big white lotus flower. TSK, interesting. Yun Chujo sat on the ground and muttered, I'm really sorry, my legs are numb. Who are you? Manager Lu said arrogantly, how dare you? This is Princess Shiyu. Princess 11 you reprimanded softly, Lu Hua, don't be rude. 9th sister, I'm your 3rd sister. I still have to accompany the crown prince to the palace to meet the empress. After we return to the residence, we can have a good chat. Before Yun Chujo could speak, the crown prince looked at Yun Chujo with disdain, as if he was looking at something. Then he said, Shiyu, she's just an irrelevant person, why bother talking to her? Let's go. Princess Shiyu looked at Yun Chujo apologetically, then urged the spirit beast to follow. The young men and women behind Shiyu looked at Yun Chujo a few times, then revealed contemptuous expressions and followed. Manager Lu felt that Yun Chujo would definitely be dealt a great blow. He looked at Yun Chujo proudly, but he didn't expect Yun Chujo to stand up and pat the dust off her body. He said with a faint smile, let's go. Do you still want to kneel here and be a mushroom? Manager Lu, the soldiers guarding the city only let everyone into An City after checking Manager Liu's identity. It was bustling with people in An City. Yun Chujo looked around curiously. Manager Lu curled his lips in disdain. What a country bumpkin. Such a country bumpkin could not be compared to Princess Shiyu. They were like heaven and earth. However, Princess Shiyu was going to marry the crown prince in the future. She was a good-for-nothing. TSK. An City was different from some cities in the immortal Yuan continent. People could ride small-sized spirit beasts in the city. Most of the people were riding spirit beasts similar to the ones that Princess Shiyu and the others were riding on, however, it did not seem to be as high-grade as the ones that Princess Shiyu and the others were riding on. As An City was very big and the imperial residence of King Yun was very far from the city gate, Manager Lu and the others also summoned those spirit beasts that looked like horses. Manager Lu led an old horse that was about to lose all its fur and said to Yun Chujo, Miss Jo, I'm really sorry. This kind of wildebeest has a violent temperament, so you should ride this old horse to avoid falling down. Manager Liu's eyes were full of schadenfreude. It was a great shame for her to ride this old horse around the city. No one else could say anything. After all, she was a trash from the immortal Yuan continent, so she could only ride this kind of docile old horse. Yun Chujo looked at Manager Lu meaningfully and said indifferently, I have a mount, so you should ride this old horse yourself. Your brain is not working well. If you fall again, you will directly become a fool. Manager Lu was so angry that his face was red and his neck was thick. He angrily put away the old horse and thought to himself, bitch, if you want to suffer yourself, then you can't blame him. This bitch must not know that the spiritual power of the people in An City was much higher than that of the people in the immortal Essence continent. Its spirit beast would definitely not be able to withstand the pressure, and when the time came, it would definitely be scared to the ground and see how she would end up. Yun Chujo slowly released the giant rabbit and then turned over to ride on it. She said to Manager Lu, who had a dumbfounded look on his face, let's go. Manager Lu, rabbit. She actually rode a rabbit? What kind of rabbit was this? How could it be so big? Manager Lu took a closer look. A level 1 rabbit. Manager Lu gloated over Yun Chuji's misfortune. This rabbit was probably going to be scared to death by the pressure and collapse on the ground. However, he could only watch as the giant rabbit jumped up and down. Not only was it scared to death, but it even ran faster than their wildebeest. What the fuck? Everyone in An City was attracted by Yun Chujia's strange mount. Who was this little girl? Why was she riding a rabbit? Yun Chujia waved her claws at the crowd and said weakly, "I'm the 9th Miss of the Yun Mansion. I'm poor and can't afford a wildebeest, so I can only ride a rabbit." Manager Lu almost fell off the horse. This damn bitch. If she said that, didn't she put the entire Yunwang mansion in it? Manager Lu quickly explained, "Everyone, our 9th Miss spiritual power is too low, so she can't ride a wildebeest. It's not a matter of money." Yun Chujio sighed. Whatever you say, whatever you say. Sigh. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.